What's going on, guys? Ryan here with Texsource, coming to you guys with another video today. Today we're doing a video on the eco panel frames. So what is an eco panel frame? It's basically a frame that you remesh yourself. Unlike the standard static frames that you guys might be used to getting, where the screens come already pre-meshed, an eco panel frame is a frame that you mesh yourself using this mesh panel, a few stretch bars, and then this tool right here. And we'll go over this gadget in a little bit. We'll show you guys how to stretch this frame. But why do you want an eco panel frame? Well, one thing is the amount of space that you can save in your shop. I know a lot of our salesmen go into shops and these screen printers have tons of frames cataloged in library, up in the attic and other storage areas. Well, this allows you to limit the amount of screens you have, because most of your printers are printing on the fly, printing pretty quickly, and you might rip a frame and you don't have time to send that frame off to be remeshed, so you guys just order more frames. So then you continue to stockpile more and more frames. Another thing is speed. The amount of time it takes me to replace this mesh by this panel is incredibly fast compared to you guys sending off frames to have remeshed. Remeshing a frame nowadays takes 6 to 8 weeks, sometimes even longer depending on the time of the year that we're in. But having an eco panel frame that you can remesh yourself allows you to save so much time, because you can literally take this panel off the frame, trash it, put another one on within 5 minutes. So that's another good thing about the eco panel frames. The last thing that I really like is the money savings. Again, you don't have to stockpile a bunch of frames after they've been ripped. And like I said earlier, when you, as screen printers are moving fast and heavy, you guys don't have time to wait for those screens to be remeshed, so you buy a new frame. So then you just have more money invested into another frame while your ripped screens are in the closet somewhere. So you save money by, first, your initial investment in a blank frame, a blank eco panel frame. So you got your first initial investment of 30 bucks into this, plus this mesh panel, I mean, around 15 bucks, depending on mesh count, depending on size, 20 by 24, 23 by 31, roughly 15 to 20 bucks per one of these mesh panels. So instead of buying a brand new frame every day, or as they're ripped, which nowadays static frames that come pre-meshed, 20 by 24s range from 25 to 35, and 23 by 31s range from 35 to sometimes $52, $55 if you get to the high mesh counts. So what's good is you save money by just having this one eco panel frame or several, and then just investing your money into these sheets or these panels of mesh. So a lot of good tips here, a lot of good things about the eco panel frames. And now we're going to get into showing you guys how to stretch them. It's very simple. It takes a lot to get used to. I'm not going to lie, it's kind of a pain in the ass. But once you get it down the first, second time, it's pretty simple. So it's interesting. It's good technology. It's been out for a while, but we're getting you guys a video to help you guys to be able to stretch better. But we will start with this, and we will stretch a few screens for you. So here you have the stretch bars. You got a short side and a long side. Clearly we know which one goes where on this eco panel frame. So this eco panel, so we're going to apply the mesh panels now to this eco panel frame. And with this frame has a top lip, as you can see here, and also a bottom lip down here. What I like to do is I like to start with our stretch bar. You can see where the mesh strip is supposed to go inside this groove. So this little groove will always be sitting up on top of the frame, and you always want to start with this stretch bar on the top lip first, because if you start on the bottom, there's no way to stretch it. So always start with the stretch bar on the top of the eco panel frame. And so what I like to do is I like to put the stretch bars all across the frame first, and then put the mesh panel in. You can do it both ways, but then if you put the mesh panel in before you put the bars on, then you got to carry it across. It's a little bit more of a pain. So I like to put the stretch bar on the frame first. So again, put on the top of the lip, you got a short side with the short side and long side with the long side. Again, you can see how this little groove right here will sit right on top of that lip. Very easy. Also want to make sure the bars are in the middle of its side. And then we'll come across with the mesh panels. Now you can't just put the mesh panel straight in. You always got to put the mesh panel in the correct way. So if you see this plastic strip, it's sewn in. It has a black side and then a white side. You always want to take this mesh panel, how I have it here, how you see the white side on top, fold it once towards you to where you see the black thread on top. And then what we do is we slide this plastic strip in, the top side in first. So it's almost like you're gonna go in this way and it's gonna swing back the other way. Because if you try and go backwards and frontwards, I found this a little bit harder. So do one flip, stick that top side of this strip into this bar this way first, push it all the way in, and with your fingers, give it a good little shove downwards into that groove to make sure this panel's all the way in. Because if you don't, if one of these sides is not all the way in, you'll know it when you go to stretch this frame, because this whole thing will pop off and it'll be a pain to get back off. So once you get that side in, you go to the opposite side, and then we'll put this side in first, because you can't go from this side to this side. You could, but it's always best practice to do opposite side next. So then again, on this other side, we take the strip, you got the white thread on top, fold it once underneath to where the black thread is showing. Again, take the top of the strip, go into the groove first, and that's what allows it to slide right in very easily. Same way with the other side, again, white strip on top, fold it underneath where the black is showing on top. And slide it right in. And then the last side, fold. So now all of our plastic strips are inside these grooves. So now we need to stretch this EcoPanel frame. You have a stretch tool here. This tool has a flap that will go up and down. When you're taking the frame off, I always, and I'll show this here in a minute, this will be downwards. But to stretch a frame, you always want to have it up. And you can see where this nice groove is here, where it's got a little circular part inside the middle. This is where it's going to stick right into this circle part of the EcoPanel frame here. This fits perfectly into that. So what I like to do first is, prior to that, you also have this top part where that has a little tooth. You can see this little small tooth right there. That is what's going to stick into this part of the frame, or this stretch bar, and pull it downwards. So we will put this like so, to where you can see that tooth going to the frame. This circle portion of it has fallen into that groove, as you can see here. You can see how it's getting tight, and then we push away from us. It snaps right in place. Again, like we put the mesh panels in, you go to the opposite side, because if you stretch this side, it's not going to stretch properly. So we stretch that side, we go to the opposite side. Again, you got this groove, got that tooth. You put the tooth in first on the top, and you can see this circle part. Get it in the groove first, so you get it in the groove. That little circle edge falls perfectly into that other groove. Pull it tight. Then we go to the other panels, same thing, got the groove, got the tooth. Last but not least, flip it up, got the groove, got the tooth right here. And it might look like I'm doing a lot of muscling into it, but it's really not. It's pretty simple. So again, here's our mesh panel frame. I'm going to demonstrate how to take this off, because you will be remeshing your own, and you got to know how to take this off, because there's a different way. Again, this is a little bit of a learning curve for certain people, because EcoPanel frames, first couple times you do it, trying to figure out the tool, it can be a pain in the ass. They come with instructions. I'd rather watch a video than read the instructions, but once you get it down, it's pretty simple. So now we will take this off. Again, another good thing about these frames is the tension it holds. I mean, this thing has incredible tension versus standard static frames. The static frames lose its tension over a while. The only way to get those static frames with high tension mesh again, to rip the mesh off and send it to your provider who remeshes your screen. Unlike these Eco frames, once you lose tension or once it has a tear, take it off, go to your drawer where your other mesh panels are, put a new put a new mesh panel on. So we got the mesh panel on, tight tension. All right, now it's time to switch the mesh off or it's ripped. Now we're going to demonstrate how to use this tool to take this mesh panel off, because you got to use it a different way as you did as putting it on. It's going to be different. So we're going to demonstrate that now. Unlike how we would flip this up to put this in the groove to stretch it, you leave this down, this top part of the bar down to take the mesh panel off. This whole flat piece acts almost like a leverage where it pushes against the mesh frame to allow this bar to come off. So again, this flat part is almost like leverage going across this. But what you do first is you have this groove that fits into this mesh or the stretch bar. You come upwards. You see how it kind of fell into this little stretch bar groove. You see where it's got leverage, and push. Push and don't hold it backwards because you want this bar to release and come forward. So push, hear that pop, and come forward pretty quickly. Do that. Now when I'm taking the mesh panels off, I don't go opposite side, because if I go opposite side, then I have high tension on both sides of these. You can then go to this side, do it that way. Now I'm done with the bar and these side panels just fall right off. So taking the mesh panel off, you just had to go to the two sides only. One other trick or one other tip that I would like to recommend is when putting these mesh panels in, do not slide the strip in to the bar, because then you just will cut the corners of the mesh and it will ruin this mesh panel when you stretch it. Always, when you're installing this mesh panel, always go in from the top. So we'll do this one more time. We'll see how quick I can go and see what you guys think. All right, so we are gonna start. Last time I got it in 1:10. I always flip the plastic strip to where the black side shows. We are at 25 seconds. Flip the bar. All right. Minute exactly. Minute, then we're taking it back off. These two sides fall off. Should just fall right off. And there we have it. So about 1:30 on and off, but clearly that was just to show. So again, there you have it, an Eco Mesh Panel frame, a frame that you re-stretch yourself over and over again. Initial investment is in the blank frame itself, the mesh panels, and this blank Eco Panel frame should last a lifetime. There's no reason why you should ever have to get rid of this unless you throw it around as you're pissed off at a job or something. But this Eco Panel frame should last a lifetime, and then you just have the mesh panels that you buy and you put in over time. So a good investment, save a lot of time, money, space in your shop. So thanks for joining our video. If you like it, give us a thumbs up. Let us know if any other videos you'd like to see. Thanks.